I want to suggest that you use audio or video feedback. At this time, I like using video feedback the most, which is a screencast using a student's paper, but you can also just be reading the paper, tell them to have it out, be referring to the page number, and just give plain audio feedback. This is timely. It goes faster than writing when you're able to say so much more than you can write. It's also more specific because you can explain in better detail where the problem is and how to fix it. But it's also more than just putting awk in the margins or telling someone, you really need to go through this and look for commas more. But to help someone out in the first couple of pages of it can be really helpful. Also, it's more personal if you're able to give audio or video commentary because you're able to praise more. You're able to find a part of the paper that you really like. And it has more effect when you're able to say it rather than just writing good or putting a smiley face and an exclamation point in the margins. This makes your feedback much more immediate to the student.
So now that I've talked a little bit about the fact that this could potentially be a very good idea, how exactly will you do it? Well, one way you can do it with just the sound without having any video is to use Audacity. And Audacity is a free audio recorder. You save it as an MP3 and you can attach the MP3s if they're about 5 minutes long to the gradebook if you're using a learning management system, or you can also email the MP3s to the students. But when you do that, you have to make sure that you refer to the page number so that they know what you're talking about. But for these audio files can go very quickly in Audacity, and you can just upload them as MP3s to a file folder and then just send them to the students. Another thing that you can do is to use Jing or Screencast-O-Matic. These are both free screen capture softwares that you can put up on you can have the students work on the screen, whether it's a PowerPoint or a PowerPoint slide or a JPEG that they've sent to you. And as you point to things on the screen, that will be recorded. And it's not like your face is being recorded, it's just your voice, but what they're actually seeing in the video is their work as you comment on it. And I think that's a very effective way to do it. Jing is an SWF file, which is a proprietary file with Adobe, and you would store that in the cloud on Screencast for access because they won't be able to play it in any other way. But just sending them the link from Screencast is really good because they don't have to have the right player for it. The player is already done. If you send them an MP4, you have to make sure they have something that will play it, la la la. Screencast-O-Matic is the same thing. Jing has a 5-minute limit, which is good. If you can't say it in 5 minutes, they're not going to hear it. Screencast-O-Matic gives you 15 minutes, but you have to download the MP4s to your desktop and then upload them separately from there, whereas with Jing you just store it up in Screencast. You can also video yourself on your smartphone and then upload that to YouTube and then give them just the private link to that, and then pretty much anything will play YouTube, and that can also work as video feedback. If you want to buy something to have a little more power, a little more flexibility, you can buy Snagit, which is the pro version of Jing, which will save as MP4s, which are a little easier to deal with. Or you can try Camtasia, which is another thing that you can work with, but those are more costly and a little more complicated. Hi Yuichi, I'm talking to you today about your researched argument where you pose a solution that you have titled The Saving Grace. Let's see, I really like how you've got the MLA header in the upper left-hand corner, and you have your title and then your paragraphs. There are a few more things about formatting that you need to know. You need to make sure you have a header up here in which you have your last name and then insert a page number. And you would, when you click up here on the header, then you can format it by going over to the right-hand side, typing your name, and then you'll insert the page number from there so that it's easier, so that it's the MLA format. The date here also has to go 26 May 2012 because they use the European format. I really like how you've centered Saving Grace, and don't forget at the beginning of this paragraph you're also going to have the first line indented, and then you're also going to have to go through your whole paper and make sure it's all double spaced. So one way that you would do that would be to if you highlight Just make sure you highlight the entire paragraph, and then you would want to go to format the paragraph, and in formatting the paragraph you want the line spacing to be double, and then I want both of these numbers to be 0, and then you'll see how that changes the paragraph. So that's all the MLA formatting. Now I read your first paragraph and I see that you're introducing the idea and you're saying that stem cells will continue to proliferate. Here you've ended on a very nice quote from Snow 17, and you've cited it appropriately, but it's nicer if you can have at the beginning of each of the quotes that you insert into your paragraph who said it. You want to say who Snow is, what Snow is trying to do with this, and have that attributive tag at the beginning of the quote. And then here at the end of the paragraph, you're going to need to pose precisely what your solution is going to be. So it seems like here you're suggesting that the use of stem cells gives hope to unsolved illnesses, that scientists have found cures. So here you need to pose precisely what is the problem then. This sounds wonderful. So this part at the end of your paragraph of your introduction would be really nice to propose, to just put in a couple of sentences where you say what is the problem with this wonderful thing you've just outlined here, and then what is your proposed solution. So that sets it up for the rest of the paper. So now that I've worked on Yuichi's paper and I want to send it so that Yuichi can read it, you'll notice that I need to go to a place in the cloud so that I'm not going to fill up all my students' email, which is sometimes awfully full in the first place. So I'd like to store these in the cloud in a private place where no one else is able to see them except for the person I send the link to. So I've gone here, you'll notice, to screencast.com, and in screencast.com I create a free account, and which generally works, and unless you have really heavy traffic and a lot of students, then you may have to purchase the pro account, which is about $99 a year. So here I am inside Screencast, and you'll notice that I have lots of papers that I've uploaded here. I'm going to upload Yuichi's paper now, and there we are. And I can upload these as MP4 files, or I can upload them as SWF files if I'm using the Jing free screencast stuff or software. And if I upload it as an SWF file, this is a proprietary folder to Adobe, and so it can only be accessed through Screencast. So that is a limitation, but it's free, and you also have a 5-minute limit. But a 5-minute limit is really good for this kind of feedback because that's about the attention span that you can get. Now, I have had papers where I've had to have I've needed to do 2 5-minute sections, part 1 and part 2, and they have a lot of impetus to look at both videos. But in general, oftentimes when we've put counters on whether they've hit the first and second videos, we have pretty good success with hitting the first 5-minute video, and then not as good success for the second 5-minute video. And also, they find that if you have more than about 5 or 10, well, let's say 5 to 7 minutes of information, they're not going to make it all the way through. And in this particular case, I want the person to be pausing the video and then taking notes on their own paper, so that all the writing on their paper is in their own hand. And I don't put my mark on their stuff. And it turns out that they do better global revisions and better local revisions as well. And they also report higher satisfaction with that. So my upload has, my video feedback upload is in Jing. So here it is. And Screencast. And then when I ask for it, I can come down and it will give me a sharing option. And I can highlight and copy this web address, and then I go into my Blackboard gradebook. I'm using Blackboard at the moment, but if I want to find a private way to communicate this to the student, 8 points, I guess. And then here I would just put the link in that the student would need in the feedback to users, and I would want to make sure that it was a hot link so that all the student would have to do was click on it. I want to open it in a window. Yes, please. And then here I could say, please see this video for my commentary. And when I send this to the student, this will appear in their grade book just to the right of the grade, so it's very easy for them to click on and to be able to see the video. Now, one of the things that sometimes gives students a problem is if they're in the wrong browser, so sometimes Explorer has trouble with these files. Who knows why? And so I often like to tell students that it's nice if they're able to do this in Firefox or in Safari, and that often has a better effect. And that's how to share the videos with students. You can also email it to them because it's just a link. It's not going to crash their email. So you can either email them the link or you can give it to them in their grade book where you yourself get.
I'd like to really encourage you to try giving audio or video feedback to your students. You'll find that it helps you be able to give better feedback in a more timely manner. They get it more quickly, and it becomes more personal and more helpful to them. A lot of our research has demonstrated that they're able to do better global revisions as well as the specific revisions when you when you write on a person's paper. Personally, I have also found this very helpful because I find grading very stressful, and it helps take some of the stress off that I'm able to talk about it, but also it prevents me from eating because I have to keep talking, and I tell you, I think I personally subsidized smart food popcorn until I found video feedback techniques. So I really hope that you give it a try. Please visit our website where there are tutorials and further information and references to the research. Good luck!